Hello everybody, J-Knight Tech Reviews here, taking a quick look at the performance of graphics cards when connected via a mining adapter. I'm sure you've seen them before, you know, the cheap little 1 to 16 times risers that are most often used to mine cryptocurrency with. I bought a couple of them myself for that exact reason, but with the few I had left over I couldn't help but wonder, can you game on a PCIe riser? I mean, it should work, right? In an older video of mine I did, or rather I attempted to do just that, and somehow managed a V5800 Pro graphics card into an old laptop after ripping out its Wi-Fi card. Not my finest hour. Even though I was unable to run any game aside from Doom 2, it still shouldn't have worked as well as it did. I basically broke the rules of computer hardware. But this is a different case, and this time I'll be using a more modern graphics card and actually plugging the adapter into a slot in which it is meant for. The system for today's testing is of a computer I built a few years ago with an Intel 9700K, 32GB of DDR4 memory, and 2.5TB of Mark II storage. For the graphics card, I'll be running this test with the Dell OEM GTX 1080 and an MSI Gaming X Trio RTX 3080. Both are respectable cards and shouldn't significantly bottleneck the system. For the benchmarking, I decided to only run a few tests since it shouldn't take much to detect an impact of the card's performance, if there is one. Ultimately, I ended up running 3 different games: Refunct, Titanfall 2, and Fallout 76. Refunct and Titanfall 2 I chose since they would yield higher frame rates, making the performance difference more noticeable. And I ran Fallout 76 just to abuse the poor hardware. Also kinda wanted to check up on the game's stability a few years after its, troublesome launch. The first set of testing was done with the cards plugged into the 1 to 16 times adapter, connected to the slot closest to the CPU on the motherboard. All games were played in 1440p with the highest settings but without VSync. With the GTX 1080, the average frame rate in Refunct was 161, in Fallout 76 it was 45, and in Titanfall 2 it was 78. Refunct and Titanfall 2 both ran very well and were completely playable. However, Fallout 76 was a different story, with huge amounts of stuttering. I then tested the 2080 in the same way with an identical configuration. In Refunct it got 222 FPS, in Titanfall 2 it got 112, and in Fallout 76 it got a very stuttery 56 frames per second. So, as expected, better than the 1080 but still not at its full potential. After Fallout, I unplugged the 2080 from the riser and connected it directly to the motherboard, and performance improved, for the most part. In Refunct, the average frame rate resulted in 261, in Titanfall 2 was 144, and in Fallout 76 it was, once again, 56. The maximum refresh rate of my monitor is 144 FPS, and I couldn't find the option in Titanfall 2 settings to unlock the frame rate, so that's probably why the result was 144. But for Fallout 76, I really don't know. Likely the frame rate is hard capped at 60 FPS for whatever reason, and the stuttering brought it down a bit. I couldn't find an option to easily change this. On the bright side, there was a lot less stuttering this time, so I'm still gonna count it as a win. With the 1080 directly connected, the average frame rate in Refunct was 194, and in Titanfall 2 was 128. In Fallout 76, the 1080 performed just as well as the 2080, achieving 56 FPS, with much less stuttering than previously. I did a little bit of math and figured out that, on average, the 1080 saw a 36% increase in performance when switching from the adapter to a direct connection, while the 2080 only saw a 16% gain in performance. But that's because it achieved the same frame rate in Fallout twice, and the refresh rate was unfortunately limited in the Titanfall 2 benchmark. So, if I were to test more unlocked refresh rate games, there probably would be a larger percent increase in performance for both cards. So the point is that running your graphics card through PCIe 1 to 16 times adapter will decrease your in-game frame rate. It doesn't make the card useless, but it does degrade performance by quite a bit. But if you wanted a vertically mounted or even external GPU for whatever reason, you could use a 16 times to 16 times riser instead. These don't really degrade performance unless you daisy chain many together, so there's still options available to you if you don't want your card directly connected for whatever reason. But if there's such performance degradation, then why do miners use these adapters? Surely it would decrease their mining hash rate and total income. Well, not exactly. Gaming performers can take advantage of using multiple PCIe lanes at once, while mining only requires one. This is because mining requires significantly less data transfer than gaming does. Tech Power Up did an article on this exact topic which showed a direct correlation between PCIe connections and their in-game performance. They tested a few different games, and these graphs represent their average performance in various resolutions. So, if you're gaming, either use a 16 times to 16 times extension cable or plug your card directly into the motherboard. But if you're mining, it doesn't really matter how it's connected. And that's about it. Thanks for watching and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or related comments, then leave them below and I'll be sure to respond to it. While you're at it, consider subscribing or leaving a like because it helps me out and I'm trying to get monetized. There's also an official J-Knight Discord server where you can chat with me and others about a variety of topics, link in description. But that's it. Have a great day. Bye.